Is green tip ammunition really better? Let's talk about that. Welcome to the Patriot Training YouTube channel. My name is Clay Howell. I'm the owner and head firearms instructor at Patriot Training. The topic of this video is green tip ammunition. Is it better for your AR-15? Green tip ammunition, also known as M855, is a 62 grain projectile for your 5.56 millimeter AR-15. And, you know, this stuff just won't go away. It's not really anything special. It's not really anything fancy. It's an old school round that was designed to be able to penetrate the thickness of steel of a Russian helmet at 800 yards. And therefore it has a penetrator type core to help it penetrate that kind of steel. And it meets that specification, and the Army also wanted it to be able to be a no more than a 4-minute of angle ammunition, and that it is as well. And outside of that, there's no real huge benefit for it. Here at Patriot Training, I don't permit the use of green tip in class, and that has to do with the fact that most of our rifle classes we use steel targets as part of the curriculum, and green tip ammunition, the one thing it's really good at is messing up steel. So obviously we need to be good stewards of the investment of the steel targets here at Patriot Training and not mess them up by poor ammunition choices. So we do not permit green tip on the line when we're shooting classes for that reason. And, you know, from time to time, somebody will reach out and express their displeasure with that. And, you know, there's parts of several classes that you can take and use the green tip. That's fine. But the portions where we shoot the steel, it's just not wise to do so. It can damage the steel. So we don't do that. Invariably, we get somebody who says something like,
I shoot green tip because it's better.
And so I must ask, is green tip really better? Well, we've done videos on this before, and in my estimation, when you're talking about ammunition, there are 3 major factors that might or might not make a certain type of ammunition better than another type of ammunition. Those factors are cost. If one ammunition is less expensive, that could be better. Another factor might be effectiveness. If one ammunition has a better terminal performance than another, that might be considered better depending on your need for the ammunition. And then the final category that I look at is accuracy. If one ammunition is more accurate than another, then that could be perceived as better as well. And surely if you put your mind to it, you could probably come up with a million different ideas of what would make one ammunition better than another. But I believe that these 3 categories represent the vast majority of shooters and the vast majority of applications: accuracy, cost, and terminal ballistics.
I shot a 1-inch group with 20 rounds of green tip at 500 yards with a regular M16 and regular open sights.
So let's look at green tip versus, say, for example, regular 55 grain ammunition. First and foremost, according to many different published data points on the internet by people that do more shooting than I do and have done much more scientific tests, green tip ammunition tends to be a 4-minute of angle ammunition or greater, which is not good. The more minutes of angle, the less accurate it is. Meanwhile, your typical 55 grain ammunition tends to be between 2 and 3 minutes of angle, just depending on the gun, the setup, and the ammunition. So the 55 grain wins out on the accuracy. Next up, cost. Well, I checked at local academy stores and online just prior to this video, and I've done another video on this, and I did the same thing then. And lo and behold, 55 grain ammunition, yet again, is about 10% to 15% cheaper on average than comparable green tip ammunition. So in terms of cost, the 55 grain wins. Terminal ballistics. 55 grain ammunition fragments much more reliably, and at a greater range of speeds than green tip. Green tip is very unreliable when it comes to fragmentation, and although fragmentation is not everything when it comes to terminal ballistics in the 223 and 5.56 millimeter offerings, it is a huge indicator as to the effectiveness of this military standard full metal jacket type round. So based on that, we must conclude that 55 grain typically has better terminal performance as well. 55 grain therefore wins all three categories as far as I'm concerned. It's more accurate, it is less costly, and it has better terminal ballistics. Obviously, if you want much better terminal ballistics, you need to get a good hunting round or a good open tip match, something along those lines. But between the two bulk types of ammunition, 55 grain wins hands down. The one category you could say green tip is better in is it does have a higher ballistic coefficient, therefore it does buck the wind a little bit better at longer distances. The problem is, since it is so inaccurate to begin with, it doesn't matter. You can't really tell the difference. So let's go on to another topic. Recently I saw a video, and the shooter in the video suggested that they shot green tip ammunition with their iron sights from a field position at about 100 yards, and they showed groups of approximately 1, maybe less than 2 inches across, and 5-shot groups, and of course that would be very impressive. That would be awesome. The problem I saw there was there were multiple points of tape on that target, so we don't know for sure. We never saw the guns, we never saw the shooting, so we don't know if the gun had a scope on it or not. We certainly did not see the ammunition that was being shot, so we don't know if it was green tip or not. So there's a lot of variables here, and I'm not saying that that post or that person was lying. I'm saying that I don't believe the claim, and there may have been a variable that was unaccounted for there. So in that vein, I bought some green tip at the local academy, Sports and Outdoors, some Winchester brand, not the world's greatest, not the world's worst, and I put this ammunition through 4 different rifles to evaluate whether or not this ammunition was going to be accurate enough to sustain the claim that I saw in that other presentation. Folks, the results are in, and the green tip ammunition, I shot 10 rounds out of each gun and measured, and you will see pictures here of the ruler put right up against the targets in each case. And for my Block 2 style rifle, it's got a heavyweight precision barrel from Black Hole Weaponry, and that barrel with good match grade ammunition is a 1 minute of angle gun. However, with the green tip, as you can see, there was a 4-inch group, making it a 4 minute of angle gun. It's important to note that all of these groups were obtained using a rest and using a rear bag for maximum stability. You can see in the film that I'm using a backpack, and it's got a gun rest in it, and you can see that I'm using a rear bag, maximum stability. I'm using the optic that I have on each rifle. For 2 of them it's a higher power scope, and for 2 of them it's an L-can and an ACOG, so therefore 4 power. And this is what you would have on the gun, but I find that if a gun is a 1 minute of angle gun, I could shoot that with a 4X as well as a 10X. That part doesn't matter as much as just having established a good zero and using good ammunition. Here is a group from a Ruger American Ranch bolt action. Certainly not the world's most accurate bolt action gun, but it's no slouch either. Many people have reviewed this rifle online, and they find it to be more accurate than your typical AR, shall we say. And this rifle produced, as you can see here, a 3-inch group with the green tip ammunition. Next up is my modified 20-inch gun. It started life as almost an M16A4 clone, and I have made modifications to the rifle for the purpose of greater performance. There's a free float handguard, there is a muzzle brake, there's a nice trigger on this, there's a different grip, and all of these things make this particular rifle one of my softest shooting rifles. And despite the fact that it has an A2 government profile barrel, it's still really effective. It's fairly accurate, all things considered. I shoot it here with an ACOG 10-shot group, and as you can see on this rifle, it was 3.25 inches. Certainly no slouch, but certainly not a 1-inch group with a government profile barrel like had been claimed in another video by somebody. Last but not least, I shot my precision special purpose rifle, my Mark 12 Mod 0, and this rifle is outfitted with a Trijicon Credo 2.5 to 10 power. Dialed that all the way up to 10, made sure we got a nice focal point on it, and shot this one very deliberately. Some people might say at a brisk pace, but I'm going to show you a comparable group in a moment with this one. And of all 4 rifles, this rifle got the best group with the green tip. We got 2.25 inch groups out of this rifle with the green tip ammunition. Not bad, but certainly not 1-inch groups with iron sights. As a comparison, here is that same rifle again, and I am shooting in this video match grade ammunition, 77 grain match ammunition from Freedom Munitions. And as you can see, this 10-round group was a 1.25 inch group, meaning 1.25 MOA. So the rifle is clearly capable of shooting MOA, and the green tip was more than twice that, so it was clearly more inaccurate. So we can conclude that green tip is probably not a 1-inch kind of ammunition at 100 yards, even out of the best of rifles and the best of circumstances. So draw your own conclusions. So conclusion, don't feel undergunned with it, but don't pretend like it's something great either. Green tip is about the worst kind of ammunition you can put through your 5.56. It doesn't hurt it or anything. It just doesn't have any major advantages, particularly for the regular civilian shooter. There are cheaper options that perform better. And, you know, if you really want even better performance, you can pay just a little bit more and get something really, really nice. As a comparison, the green tip for this evaluation prior to tax and all that was approximately 55 cents per round. The 55 grain would have been approximately 45 cents, 47 cents per round. And the match grade ammunition was about 75 cents a round. So it was a little bit more expensive. However, of course, the match grade gets a lot better performance as far as accuracy. A smaller group is concerned. The 55 grain gets better accuracy, higher velocity, better terminal performance, less cost. You know, it wins all of those major categories. So I can go on and on and on about this. The facts are still facts on it, and you know, it's not a terrible round. It's not bad. It shoots, but don't go out there and pretend that it's something that it's not. It's a very, very mediocre round in all respects. It's not the king of the hill in any one regard. So that said, questions, comments, put your comment down below. Do you think I'm totally wrong? You think I'm full of it? Let me know about it. I would really like it too if you have some data to back that up. If you've got a video where you can prove that this is wrong, link that video. If you've got pictures, you know, where you legitimately shot it better than that, I would love to see it. I just have never seen it shoot well. And I'm always open, as any good scientist would be, I'm always open for new data. You know, I'm always on the lookout for new data because that helps us form a more educated opinion. So that said, click like, hit subscribe, click that notification bell so you can find out when the next Patriot Training video is uploaded. And I'd like to remind you, you don't have to be a Patriot to train, but you do have to train if you want to be a Patriot. Take care.